Hi, everybody. It's day 4 of the 9 Candles and Debbra Lupien from Voices of the Akashic Records. It's a
Voice.
long title.
Just just me with one voice.
One voice, her voice from the Akashic Records. She's here to represent day 4 of our candles. And as you know, we kind of light the candles first so they're burning while we're talking. And you want to say hi, Deborah, and kind of let,
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
okay.
So we're lighting all four or just
We'll
one?
light all 4. Um, and here's the layout. As you know, this is what happens when you want to talk about joy and you're talking to a person who has a eating disorder. You get food. Um, and it's and this is the meditation I was given about this reading. As we light this candle, and Deborah's going to be candle 4. She gets the dentist's candle because if you eat all this sweet stuff, you're going to need that candle. As we light this candle, we invite the spirit of joy to rise within us. This flame is a whisper of freedom, a reminder that light lives even in the smallest moments. With each wick, we awaken our honor and honor our journey one step, one spark at a time. We bring the flame to the flame that makes our hearts smile and gives our spirit wings. Let this be our offering, a glimmer of gratitude, a breath of hope, and the radiant joy that we all deserve. May it be our light of love and intention. Okay, that's day 1. And then we had day 2 was the banana waffles for those who have not been here before. And day 3 was watermelon. And today, as we light this 4th candle, which is a tooth, which is the dentist we're all going to have to go see after we eat all these sweets. For the 4th flame, as we light the 4th candle, we witness balance. 4 flames stand steady, grounding us in gratitude. Our light grows strong, reminding us that joy is a choice we make every day. And now, Deborah, introduce yourself and explain what you do.
Okay, I'm Debbra Lupien, voice of the Akashic Records. So I primarily channel Archangel Metatron, although sometimes other spirits pop in. And I do Akashic Records readings for people. I love to introduce them to their soul, help them to understand how they're wired so that they can live a more expansive life. And generally just spreading love and joy in the world because that's what the angels have asked of me.
Well, you just had a big event. Do you want to
Yeah.
explain about the stream you did? Christmas
Yeah,
stream.
Metatron asked me to create Love Stream,
Mm-hmm.
broadcast live every day for 11 days. And each day I needed to bring a guest with me who would bring a message. And then at the end, we had a surprise guest who would show up in spirit. So Nancy Jean was day 9 of Love Stream.
Mm-hmm.
Her surprise guest was Shirley Temple, which was astonishing to me, at least. I'm not sure if it was astonishing to you.
Well, she is a very bright, intuitive person who grew from the stature of a small child that we all kind of remember into an adult. She turned her life around and didn't stay. I mean, the ghastly figure of her with a curly haired wig on at
Yeah.
age 40.
And she was political, so maybe that's part of why she.
She was. She was very, and was very involved in politics. And when I was young, I ran a film festival at my university, and we invited directors, old directors like Frank Capra from It's Like a Wonderful Night, people from the Shirley Temple era of filmmaking. And I got to talk to people about different stars like that. And it was really interesting. And they talked about they didn't talk much about kid stars because kid stars even back then had the same problems.
Yeah.
That children that are made to behave like adults and live adult schedules have now. So
Yeah.
anyway,
But we
so
had a great time, and we have now 11 days of live stream that are in replay on my channel, so people who missed it can go back and have the entire experience. But it was really all about us being conscious of needing to bring more love, peace, and joy into the world.
yeah, and it was a tough time because it was earlier this spring when love, peace, and light seemed to be a not everywhere commodity, but it was when your people get together, and that's the importance of us lighting the candles every day and dealing with the information every day and recognizing that our bodies are on a journey. The first day, it was okay, I have a glimmer of hope. The second day, oh my God, it's getting better in here. You know, I'm with someone else. Then the third day, this is warm and wonderful. And then today, it's that this gives us a foundation to move our understanding of candling and just going through the ceremonies. When I met with the elementals and I said, "Why did you bring me here?" And they said, "Because you're one of the ones that understands ritual." And a lot of people balk at the idea of rituals because of they always relate that to the more formal church. But we all have a right to have our own rituals. We all have a right to find the rituals that do what I'm asking people to do, um, that have a glimmer of gratitude, a breath of hope, and the radiant joy that we all deserve. And we really do deserve all those things.
Yes.
And this is the time for us to think about it, all light a candle together, laugh about the food that we're lighting up, and everybody deserves to have a good time.
And
And
it's also important because now it's such a dark time. And with your ceremony, you're bringing more light into the world when
right,
we most need it.
everybody needs to light a bit of it themselves that day. And I mean, and to recognize when you're getting sucked into the dark. I mean, I knew after the election in November how fast we were all going to get sucked into a very dark place and very dark intentions and thoughts. And so my attitude was to find things that kept me aware and learning and seeing a better thing. One of the things I tripped into, I watched a lot of British history and a lot of history around the Industrial Revolution, which is, by the way, we are passing away from. We passed away when we went from Earth, where Jupiter and Saturn were meeting for 200 years in Earth. Now they're meeting in air. When we transitioned from that, we started in that Earth thing during the Industrial Revolution, where our reality was going to become out of what we could make and what we could do. And watching how people went from being an agrarian society, and particularly in England, where it's phenomenal what these in one generation what happened to some of these towns and areas when they went from being farmers to being manufacturers. And then, of course, everything they built that they thought, oh, this is what I now should be, that's all crumbled and gone away. It's not there either. So they have to learn to understand and how to live through those kinds of changes. And the guts it must have taken. I was watching. I was watching. Occasionally, you'll see the shows on family histories, and I watched it was Jim Acosta, the reporter, and his grandmother, great grandmother, who he knew nothing about. She paid at the age of 20. She paid her own fare to come from Ireland to the U.S. during the Great Potato Famine. The village she lived in was wiped out by the potato famine. She'd come over here. She'd gotten worked her way into getting a job as a maidservant. She ended up living in the Dakotas as a servant, which is the big apartment building in New York. And then she ended up marrying a chauffeur, raising her kids, and having a totally different life than she was Yeah, I know. Allergies are everywhere, guys. You have to excuse us. And he had no idea of the from total nothing that parts of his family had started from. But his family on his father's side that had come to Cuba, that they were part of the founding families of Cuba, and they had been the ruling class, and they'd owned slaves and everything. But now that family lives in Cuba. He's gone to the village. They survive, but they don't live what we would call well. And all of the family that came from the Irish side, they switched places. So it's an up and down thing, but we all need to do what we can do right now to help ourselves and to help view a future that's totally different, because this time the change isn't going to just be from how you work and where you work and the hours you work.
Yeah.
This is going to be who you are. I mean,
Well, and also it's not just stand back and watch somebody else do it.
mm-mm.
You got to step up and do it.
Right. You have to change the vision inside your own mind. And there is a critical mass of us when we get enough of us together and meditating on the right things. That's what's going to cause a change. And the planets are helping. The sun's spitting out so much photonic energy. We're all kind of hoping it doesn't do the one big spit out, which blows all the satellites away. But I actually watch, there's a channel on YouTube about the sun's weather report, about where it is, because it's that different from what it's been before. And this goes along with, I did a 9 candles a while ago, and it was about frequencies and waves coming into space, and scientists were just beginning to understand this is really affecting people, you know.
It
So
is. What was your original motivation or inspiration for creating this nine candles?
it's a Chinese ceremony of
Oh,
abundance, and it's called 9 red candles, and you can look it up online. And it's a personal ceremony, and I used to teach my friends that had their own businesses. You put 9 candles in a circle, you give it an intention of what you want it to do. You light one the first day, two the second, and you can do this ceremony all on your own. And eventually, at the end of the 9 candles, you'll find out you've achieved what you wanted to achieve. So I started 9 red candles in December 2020 when I started my channel. I was doing it for about a week, and then I got the message, oh, do the 9 red candles. And I taught the numbers 1 through 9. I taught the meaning of each of those. And we lit the candles. And what I wanted to do was to get my membership to over 1,000. That was my intention. Nobody knew that. It was underneath where the candles were burning. And within a week after the candles went out, I had 1,000 subscribers.
wonderful.
So, but the reason the elementals like the fact I do rituals is, I said, humans lost touch with their own rituals. They kind of lost this. Every man for himself. I don't need to look for a sense of a greater understanding of what's going on around us. I don't need to pay attention to Metatron or the archangels or any of that stuff. And um, that was the one thing they told me, was we picked you because you do rituals. And trust me, they were all over me about this 9 candles. They really want this one to work.
So do you have a set schedule for when you do it, or is it just when
No,
you're inspired?
no, and it's when I'm told. Trust me, after I've had 9 candles that at the end of them, when I was trying to figure out how to get them organized and deal with it, there was 1 9 candles. I was literally beating my head. I tried to have readers come live, and that was a nightmare. Um, because things happen in people's lives. And then it was just Every one of the 9 candles had a reason why it got chosen to be done. And when I switched away from red candles to white candles to yellow candles to green candles and to blue, those all had to do with chakra things. But the first time I did the 9 red candles, I just would turn my camera on and do it. And this one woman wrote me and she said, well, I paused it and I came back and finished with you, but you should have given us more of an introduction of what you were going to do. She said, I had to run around my house and find 9 red candles. And I'm like, do you live in Michael's? I mean, I couldn't, and I have a lot of candles. I couldn't run around here and find 9. She found 9 red candles and she lit them every day. There are people who do that. There are people who go back and listen to it as a whole thing. Um, the the candle before this one, it knew we were heading into some pretty dark times when I read what I wrote as the affirmation, and it was that all of us needed to learn how to turn on our own light and hold on to our own light. That, you know, big bad other people aren't going to come do it for us. So it's kind of like your things, you know. Metatron says, do this by this date and do it, you know, and you're like, and for those of you who don't have Metatron speaking in your ear or the guides that lead me to this stuff, I don't know what to say, but that's how it works.
Well, everybody can, but it does take practice. And that's
Oh,
where
it
the
does.
rituals comes in.
And then they have to decide, do I want to listen to these people talk about this stuff?
Yeah, because all it really takes is just committing yourself to a small amount of time every day of connection. And the next thing you know, you've got this dialogue going on. That's
That's
where
right.
my book, The Path to Hearing Angels and Guides, came from.
Mm-hmm.
Just 15 minutes a day, and next thing you know, you're channeling.
That's right.
And I
That's
do have a short little message for you from Metatron, if that's okay.
okay.
It has
Yes.
to be short, because he can be really verbose. So we heartily approve of your efforts in this endeavor. It is wise and blessed, opening the doors for more opportunities, for greater insights and joy. In acknowledgement of the trials and tribulations many are now experiencing, the 9 candle ceremony stands out as an opportunity to connect at a higher level of frequency than you may have been accustomed to. Reach for the stars, my blessed children. Allow yourselves such blissful experiences, for they are the icing on your cake, the extra skip of vitality in your step. In other words, they are vitally important. We encourage you to send gratitude to those who provide them for you, like Nancy Jean, as well as gratitude for yourself, making it a priority to become more of who you are, bring more of who you are to the table, rather than pushing aside the need for a spiritual connection in the day-to-day hustle and bustle. You wise souls have made it a priority to be here, to participate, and for that we honor you and promise we will be with you every step of the way, helping to elevate your experience, making it all the sweeter and more productive. Peace and goodwill to you on this glorious day. Our appreciation and gratitude to Ms. Nancy Jean for all of her efforts to bring more enlightenment into your world at this time of great need. Love and blessings to you, gracious lady.
Well, thank you. And with that, I'm going to thank Metatron by putting out the candles. This one I'm going to go around that way. My tooth. I'm going to have to pull my tooth over.
It's
Yeah.
so perfect you chose the fun candles for this one because we
Oh
need more.
yeah, we need more nourishment for our souls as well as our bodies. Well, thank you everyone for coming today, and we'll see you again tomorrow. And thank you, especially Deborah, for taking time out of your day to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay.